All right, everybody. Good afternoon. What is going on? Something pretty cool happened yesterday afternoon. I believe this happens every off season, although this may be the last time it happens. My understanding is that this practice is going to be put to a stop starting next year. But the NFL Players Association has released their report cards for all 32 teams. I'm not sure if this was a leak or if it was a planned release, but either way, we can now see the report cards for all 32 teams. And the way this works is that the report cards are generated by player feedback. So basically, every NFL team is graded by their players, the players that choose to participate in this survey on various aspects of their organization. And it's a way for the players, it's one of the few ways the players can voice their happiness or displeasure with the way their team does business. All right, guys, before we go any further into the video, I want to take a minute to tell you guys about my friends over at Sleeper. Sleeper is a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. Download the app to your phone. You can celebrate and chat about sports in real time with other users. You can get scores, news, and alerts with blazing fast speed. And you can play in daily fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. So enjoy sports together. Download Sleeper today, and don't forget to use my promo code SBN for up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Plus, they currently have a free $20 entry, no deposit required, just make an account. Terms and conditions do apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and growing. So check out Sleeper and have fun with sports this year. Okay, so let's see how the Seahawks did, although I will tell you straight up, they did quite well. The Seahawks came out of this process looking very good, and let's take a look at the breakdown of each individual category that the players get to grade the teams on. So, my understanding is that the players of each team, anybody on the roster, can choose to participate in this. Not all of them do, but a lot of them do, and they get an anonymous forum through which they can voice either their pleasure or displeasure with certain elements of the team. So let's take a look here. The first two categories listed are actually two of the categories where the Seahawks may have a little bit of an issue. In one case, potentially a big issue. They only got 3 B grades here, and everything else was an A. So pretty strong. But let's talk about some of those areas where they didn't get the A. Treatment of families got a B plus, which is kind of interesting. Not sure if that's something you necessarily need to improve on or not. Obviously, the higher the better, but B plus is still quite good. And I'd wonder where the lower scores came from. Obviously, that's something that should be pretty easy to accommodate for a serious NFL franchise. And this next category was by far the worst category for the Seahawks. Home game field. They got an F. Almost the lowest possible grade. F minus is possible. But there was some confusion about what this meant from some of the fans that saw this. This is just referring to the playing field at Lumen. This is just referring to the surface that the players play on. And Lumen uses turf. Players, generally speaking, do not like turf. So therefore, they rule poorly on that. Now, the World Cup this year, I think it's this year, the World Cup is going to cause the stadium to switch to a grass field for those soccer games. But my understanding is that it's going to be reverted back to the turf that it is right now before football starts. So that's not necessarily going to change anytime soon. I understand that teams do not really like having natural grass. They prefer turf because it's easier to take care of. But I do think this is something that every owner should be thinking about. And we're going to have a new owner soon, somebody that has a lot of money, somebody that can certainly afford to take care of a natural grass field. So I'm hoping that this team is able to look at this and realize, hey, this is an area we could be investing a little more money and time into, and we're going to save money in the long term because a grass field typically results in fewer injuries. So you're spending less money on players that get hurt. So that would be the one big area of improvement. But understand, this is not about home field advantage. This is not about the quality of the stadium beyond the field itself. This is just the field. Food/dining area, A-. Nutrition, dietitian is an A. Locker room is a B+. That's the final non-A grade here. I don't know when the last time our locker rooms were redone, but maybe that's something the new owner can do to kind of put his or her footprint on the team without disrupting things too much. Again, whoever our next owner is probably going to be one of the wealthier owners in the league. So they can afford to do something like remodel the locker rooms if the players think it would improve things. So there's an opportunity this offseason or maybe next offseason to do something about this. And everything else was solid. Training room was an A-. Training staff was an A. The weight room, A-. Strength coaches, A. And that's interesting, right? Because some Seahawks fans have been critical of the strength and conditioning coaches and the training coaches because of some of the injuries we have. But for whatever it's worth, it seems like the players do not believe that the coaches are to blame for that. So take that as you will. They're also not blaming the training room or the weight room. They seem to think those things are great. So if we are a team that has a lot of injuries, if we are a team that suffers an unreasonable number of injuries off the football field, which has been an allegation that some fans have levied at this team, it doesn't seem like they're blaming the faculties or the staff members. Position coaches, A-. That's really good. Really like to hear that. Offensive coordinator, and of course, this is referring to Clint Kubiak, was an A. So I know there are some Seahawks fans out there that think Kubiak wasn't all that great, but not only did he win a Super Bowl, not only did he lead an elite offense for most of the season, consider that the players really, really seem to gravitate towards him. That has to weigh somewhat heavily here. Defensive coordinator is an A+. And I believe that's our only A+. So I know that Aiden Dirty doesn't call plays. I know that Aiden Dirty isn't one of those defensive coordinators that is scheming up during game day, but he's doing something very right, and the players seem to love him. So there's something to be said for that. That's not something that you can lose and not lose anything. There is something to be said for having that defensive coordinator that resonates with the players. Special teams coordinator, this is Jay Harbaugh, an A. Team travel, A-. Head coach, A. And by the way, only 2 coaches got an A+. I think it was McVay and Dan Quinn, interestingly enough. General manager, A. Pretty hot hype there. Team ownership, A. And obviously ownership is going to change soon, so we need to try to maintain that standard. And the overall rank from 1 to 32 was 4. So we were the 4th best team in the league, according to these report cards. 4th. So pretty strong. Cannot get too much better than that. And just to look within the division to give an idea of how bad this can go, look at the Arizona Cardinals. Look at all the poor grades the Cardinals have. Look at how poorly their players think of that organization. So you can see how bad it can be. These players are not just giving out free A's and B pluses to everything. If they don't like something, they're voicing it. And the only thing they really liked on this team with the Cardinals was the head coach, who is now fired. All right. So that's the video. Let me know what you guys think. Pretty cool. And I'm happy with it. So see you guys later. Go Hawks.